Here's the thing. This was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago, something like that. But I messed up the sound, so we're ready to die. So this whole thing is about this man right here.
I forgot this button. I forgot what I just said to you. All right. It might be a good thing. It's like starting over from scratch.
Start from scratch. To recap a little bit, it had just been his birthday.
It was my birthday.
It was your birthday.
Yeah, I'm 22. For a second, why I believe that. For a second, too.
We're up.
22. Then in spirit. Yeah, I'm another year older. I like to think that I age like fine wine, but sometimes I feel like I age like milk. No, that back hurt. Right. That boy got me here. Ooh, stomach hurts. Yeah, wake up, stomach hurting now.
So that really does happen, and I'm like, I didn't expect it.
What? I just thought.
Just like random things, like I'll be like totally fine, and 2 seconds later, I'm like, what's that? It's like a cramp, and something's pulling in my back, something's pulling in my leg.
My knee hurt every day. Every day, boy. Every once in a while, I hit one of these.
You feel like a little something in it. You're like,
So you pay, put it with a picture, and you man paint you. Little paint. Nah, man, but how's it been going, bro? Man, it's been going. Everybody, man, start there. Yeah, for me, I mean, it's been going. Like business is picking up. Yeah. I mean, right now it's a dead period, but I say business is picking up because there's more things coming in January. In the spring.
Is that something you can talk about now? Oh, you're closer because it's
sure. Yeah, I know we had a little drop. Yes, yeah. I touch on that. I know we'll get into it for sure. But yeah, some new things coming. I think that'll be great for this platform as well as myself and all those involved. So for sure. Yeah, 2025. I got to thank Cat Williams for opening up the 2024 portal because it's a lot of stuff I did for all of us, especially me, that happened in 2024. And I'm like, yeah, man, I got to tip my cap to Cat. So, but yeah, it's been going. I feel like there's good momentum in the air, bro. I don't know if y'all feel that, man, but I feel like back half of this year, specifically for me, I feel like it's just been like, just a lot of good energy, bro.
I mean, it's been a lot. That's like,
so the Lord really been working. Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know what he got cooking up. It almost kind of made me nervous. I'm like, why? What?
I need to do it.
Feel like we got consistency of things kind of like.
So sometimes that means it's like makes me scared because I was like waiting for the other shoe to drop. But
I get pessimistic like that, and I hate that about myself as a part. I just have to battle through a lot, you know what I mean? So like, I think we talked about that before, Bill, where you always feel like you got to overcome, bro. You can get caught up with plus.
Is that what she was?
Yeah, so yeah, she like your hair. Then about to say something right. I'm gonna say, I love you, baby. Oh, that's on me. That was on me. Yeah, you can't do that to me, better. Yeah, come on, man. At least not. Nah, shut up. Look, everybody's kind of like, man. Anyway, how was Thanksgiving, man? Thanksgiving was good. It was good. Got to go back home. Took some time away from home, which I used to try to go every month if I could. But it's been kind of tough just, trying to run the business and things like that. But being able to go back home and see the fam, and also spend time in Baton Rouge and New Orleans where my friends are, not that y'all are my friends, but like my friend I grew up.
That makes sense. Oh,
But like my childhood friends and things like that, that was good. And, as y'all know, me and Lil Boosie share a birthday. So being able to go back home during Thanksgiving and be around him and amongst him, yeah, with all the festivities going on with the Bayou Classic and, him having a concert down there and stuff like that. That was pretty cool, sir. It was great. Like he was great. So
that's cool.
Cool. My eye itches so bad. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm very distracted.
The one time I itched my eye so hard that like a little air bubble type thing literally popped up. Like it wasn't a blood vessel, but it was a literal bubble in my eye from rubbing it so hard. Oh no, y'all! I was freaking out. I was like, Mom, I'm not okay.
Had arthritis in the eye.
Something. But let's see, to get into a little bit of what Rock does, who he is, because there's layers. He's like a little onion. Or we gotta peel the layers back. So what's something you want the people to know that they don't off your social media?
Bro. Oh
Yeah, let's get into
something that. What's your fun fact that they do on the corporate world? Give us one fun fact about you. A fun fact about me. Man, I think we'll get into a lot of other things about me, yeah. So, but if there was one random fun fact, is that I tend to take 2 to 4 hour baths.
You're lying.
Real talk. So I no shower, just straight out. So you don't shower, you use baths. And like, well, I shower. I mean, I shower, but like most of the time it's bath, and a lot of times like I'm in there for like 2 to 4 hours. I ain't gonna cap, bro.
You gotta refill the water. You gotta like drain the water. I know that you do. Got me.
My water be well, I drain it. I drain it like I like to submerge myself, so I drain it just low enough to where I can like get the hot water on top.
Yeah.
I
Remixes.
you do it. Will you shower before you get in the bed? No, I just like you just like for example like okay, so like before we met down here and y'all were like, oh babe, we pulling up. When I was texting y'all like, okay, just let me know because I was in the bathtub. Yeah.
That's a bug. I feel like about a
City.
I was doing by myself. I feel like I lost bad.
So I got a little like standing on my laptop on it, and I'll like watch a movie.
Oh, see, yeah, I need to invest in one of those.
Yeah.
Cause I be in there long, and I probably could get more work done if I just was.
There's a thing you can like put it over you. It has like a book reader. You guys have balance off your water.
Bro, that's the thing. That be get kids, bro. You lose that kind of stuff, bro. Yeah, I ain't got no solid no more, bro.
All right.
Like, I would in your business, bro. I got no solitude no more, bro. Like, so that'd be vibe, bro.
Yeah, but that'd be a fun. Yeah, I'll say that's a fun fact about me. Maybe it's not so fun because I gotta moisturize all the time. Like, I'm like, my skin kind of itching now because I didn't moisturize the torso. But yeah, I gotta stay moisturized because you know how to go. Yeah, it's funny.
That's But nah, man, talk about Pineville, bro. Like, I feel like anybody that has followed you for some time and know that's something that a place rather that you're proud of, that's molded you, that shaped you. Uh, Louisiana, people from Louisiana, y'all are interested to say the least. You know what I mean? But I feel like you got a different spin than most people when I hear them talk about Louisiana, be it for Pineville. And almost like now you talk about it, I'm gonna say it's like Pineville is almost its own separate entity from the entire state of Louisiana, bro. Is that got an accurate found?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, I feel like when you think about Louisiana, everybody thinks like New Orleans, right? Like when you tell people like,
Yeah.
I'm from Louisiana. Oh, you from New Orleans?
Yeah.
But they forget like New Orleans is just like a city.
It's
Like
actually like a really small city too.
technically speaking, yeah, like relatively speaking to like Dallas, Houston,
Yeah.
LA, like
Yeah.
it's small. Like
That's really what it's known for.
but but it's like it's big to us. So yeah, like I think that would be fair to say like Pineville is right in the middle of the state. So if you take your finger and put it right in the middle on the map, like that's where I'm from. Okay, I didn't know it was yeah, it's boom right in the middle. They say it's the heart of Louisiana. Now people from New Orleans are weird about that, but they call it the heart of Louisiana. And so, but yeah, it's right across the river from a place called Alexandria, Louisiana, which is a space that I also spent a lot of time in because most of my family lived in that city. It's literally divided by a river that might be 300 yards across, the Red River. And yeah, it's a small place. Pineville has a population of a little over 14,000 people, whereas Alexandria has a population of like maybe 61.
That's jump.
Yeah, so, but even then, it's like 61. You could put both our populations together and you could fit that many people in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. Like, it's that small. Like, I always tell people when I go to LSU games, like, look around. Like, there are more people in this stadium and around this stadium than my hometown.
That's actually kind of crazy to really like sit and picture that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more people at that dome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
people that live where I'm from. So, it's different. It's tiny. Mostly everybody there knows each other. Everybody's related in some kind of way, I would say.
That's the first time I heard your accent kind of come out like that. You hear that?
Yeah.
That was great.
I'm like, I'll never hear it. Yeah. Yeah, everybody there is they either know everything about one another or you're related. And so, yeah, I mean, I call it, it's really country, like it's not unheard of to see people riding horses up and down Lower Third in Alexandria where my grandmother helped raise us and things like that. It's not uncommon to see people driving four-wheelers on the street. I've seen guys running from the police on four-wheelers, you know what I'm saying, on a highway. Like, it's like that. People fish, people hunt, people wear cowboy boots, cowboy hats. People have funny country accents. Our accent is a little bit different than the people from Lafayette and New Orleans, or there's more of a country twang to it. And so it's a unique little spot. the infrastructure isn't nearly as developed as most places. What you tend to see, the life cycle of a Pinevillian or an Alexandrian, I think this is what you would call us, right?
Yeah.
It's typically you know, obviously grow up, high school, if you go to college, cool. Most people either stay because they feel stuck or they come back, and they come back because they want to develop a family within their own family because most of their family members didn't leave.
Yeah.
So for me, seeing that and being around that, I was a little different. Like for me, I was like, I don't like this is great, but I'm looking on TVs and I'm seeing rappers. I'm seeing people like Lil Wayne from Louisiana. I'm seeing Birdman. I'm seeing uh, the New Orleans Saints. Aaron Brooks at the time was really, really high. He's in the college. So I'm like, dude, like, look at what they're doing on TV. How do I do that? Yeah.
Did
And
you ever feel like it was like a how there's like a black sheep in the family or like a certain type of way? Did you ever feel like you kind of you were the outsider, being that you wanted to be different?
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that started when I was a little kid. I always thought a little bit differently than not only my cousins, but also my aunts, uncles, even my grandparents. Uh, I oftentimes found myself being called a smart aleck, which I would, as a young kid, imagine your elder calling you a smart aleck, and then your response back is, "You're right, I am smart." Right? Like I was witty, and I had no fear in challenging what was normal, even if it meant that I was going to be perceived as disrespectful. I mean, we're talking about I'm doing this kind of stuff when I'm not even 10. So I realized very quickly that I was different. I really didn't take on that black sheep role until I was around high school and really understood what a black sheep was. And then from there, that kind of molded me into, not only the kind of man I am, but also the kind of athlete and the way I approach work.
Yeah. So it's funny you said something about like the influences out there, Wayne, Birdman, people like that. But I still feel like it's really interesting still that you still were yearning for more coming from where you were because you ain't the only one that saw it. Or, you know what I mean, right? Considering, like you said, infrastructure being the way it is, the economy, all these different things, right? Like y'all all see the same things and then you all see the same influences, right? So for you to still be like, nah, I still feel like there's a little bit more. What was that more for you? Did you ever get to leave and go see somewhere? Because I feel like most people say that, right? So I am when I experienced going to California, to Florida, to, you know what I'm saying, like that for whatever, for a football camp or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I can go somewhere else. Like, yeah, did you have that moment or was it really just like, it's just within you and it's coming out? Like,
I mean, I would say I was always really competitive growing up. It was quite natural. My father, I can say it now because at the time, but my father uh, was a police officer, a state trooper to be exact. He ended up becoming a lieutenant colonel. And I know it's not about him, but he's the closest thing to Jesus Christ I've ever met. Yeah, I tell him that all the time. Anytime he talks to me, anytime I watch a Denzel Washington movie and listen to, then he like my father, like I think about my daddy and I get teary eyed because the dude sacrificed a lot. But I do remember growing up and being with him and him wrestling with me, as a kid. And when I said stop, he wouldn't stop. And I remember after I would come to tears because like I can't beat him in wrestling. Or if he tickled me to the point he started hurting, his response is if you can breathe, you can fight. Like that's how life works. Just because you wanted to stop, it doesn't mean that that's how life works. Like you have to learn how to continue to go. You have to have endurance. And so, and we've discussed this before. My grandparents played a big role in my development and raising me because my parents sacrificed and worked so much. Yeah. But my father and my mother, but my father, when it comes to that competitive spirit,
yeah.
he always made it a point that when he could to make sure that I was different and that I did understand what it meant to be competitive and to work. So to answer your question, I think I have to attribute that vision that I had, despite the fact that everybody else from where I'm from saw it. I have to attribute a lot of that vision to him and my mother because of how they raised me. There was never a dream that I spoke about that they denied me.
That's important.
Yeah, like I remember,
Important.
I think for them, it harvested within me a competitive spirit that they didn't want to deny.
Yeah.
So I can remember asking my parents when I was little, like, hey, can I be a superhero when I grow up? And my dad's response, I'm still to this day, if I were to ask him, he would look at me and say the same thing. His response was, of course you can. You can be whatever you want to be. And so for me, when I started, watching the superstars on TV, MTV was big growing up. Well, so when I'm seeing people like, it's what I'm seeing Boosie, what I'm seeing Wayne, what I'm seeing, Baby and all those guys, when I'm watching, Michael Vick and all those guys on TV, my daddy said I could do the same thing. So I'm gonna do it. So there was never anything that I put my hand in, or, I stepped out there and tried that I didn't feel like I could elevate and become something bigger. So for me, yeah, when I looked around at Pineville, I realized there's nobody in the city doing that. There's nobody in the city rapping it. There's nobody in the city, playing pro ball. And obviously if they did go play pro ball, like, they don't come back. Yeah. And that's not me throwing shade at some of the OGs that came before me. Yeah. But the truth is the truth. Those boys really didn't come back. And when they did, they were buttholes about it. And so for me, it was like, if I want to be something like that, I've got to find a way to get away. And so that's kind of how, I kind of got to where I was mentally, to be in a space to work towards something that people didn't really aspire to be, or we didn't grow up around.
Yeah. What's the city need, bro, in your opinion?
Um, Once again, like, being in a small town, there's a lot of I think is nepotism the word?
Yeah, nepotism, bro.
So, no, I think there's a lot of nepotism. A lot of nepotism and a lot of, well, we've always done it this way. And because you have a lot of that, and because it's a small town, when somebody like myself gets a platform or has a chance to go back and speak about this, they want to throw stones immediately.
Yeah.
Because it challenges normality. And for some of the old heads who are still in certain seats or certain rooms, they still see me as a young kid from Pineville, the young kid on 339 Greenfield, 67 good,
Yeah.
So I wish not to step on their toes in saying this, but to challenge them and raise the bar. Like, I feel like what our city needs is a voice that pushes progressive thinking, a voice that pushes for people to step outside the box and elevate the youth.
Yeah.
I went back home a while back, and there was a certain venue that we were trying to get in, and, obviously I'm not 30 yet, but you had to be 30 to get in. But the reason why we're going into this venue is because one of my buddies got married. Shout out to Carlos and Kristen. And we were going to celebrate them. Everybody that was with us have good jobs, heads are on straight. Hey, my folks are pulling up in their wedding clothes, and I get it, like, rules are rules. But for me, I just feel like when you have people of influence coming to your venue trying to show love and pour into the infrastructure, to grow the infrastructure, and to be a face for those in the city to say, hey, look, if that dude can do it, so can my kids, or so can I. You should look out. And long story short, I walk up there and say, hey, man, I'm not 30 yet, but I'll tell you what, man, this is what I do. If you don't know, I grew up not too far from this place. I want to be able to help your business. I want to be able to pour into your business financially and elevate this place, because we need stuff like this, right? And I was immediately met with aggression. Oh, no, okay, I don't give a, no, no, no. Where are you from? You see what I'm saying? But humbly speaking, to a lot of the folks in the city, I'm one of their heroes. I'm one of the young bucks that made it. So the city definitely needs a voice. I would like to be that voice. Yeah. If they would allow it. I've been met with some pushback when I say certain things on the net to challenge my city and the folks in it. But it definitely needs a voice. It needs somebody to get in there and challenge the thinking. And with all due respect to the OGs and the old heads holding it down in some of those seats and in some of those rooms, they've got to be able to get out the way and let us push that city forward.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to my hometown, it looks even different now than it did when I was growing up. And we really didn't have much going on when I was growing up. And do I think it'll be a ghost town? No. But I do think it's going to be in that cycle of, you go to school, you live, have kids, work, die, rinse, repeat. And I don't think it should be there. I think those kids, especially the children, should have opportunity in that place. I mean, come on, it's the central point of the state, So I think that's what the city needs for sure. Yeah.
Do you feel like the goals and the vision that you had growing up, that, like, you've achieved that? Or do you feel like it's changed?
I mean, for me, I feel like there's always more. like I'm humbly greedy, you know.
Take a little put it.
Yeah, I'm very humble in my greed, I would say, because now it's I'll, I'm pretty sure we'll get into it, but growing up, I wanted to play college football. I wanted to be a Division I college football player, and I had the opportunity to do that. I wanted to go to the NFL. Did I go to the NFL? No, but now the NFL comes to me. It's it's so in that, you know,
That's a bar.
yeah. So in that, I feel like I made it to the league, and I can be in this thing for as long as I want. So in that regard, I feel like I've accomplished that.
Yeah.
I wanted to graduate from college, did that. I wanted to get a master's degree, did that. Wanted to be considered one of the big dogs in the strength and conditioning game, did that. Wanted to have first round draft picks, did that.
Yeah.
Got 8 of them, 2 years. Um, so I feel like all of that's been done for me. Now, everything now for me is, okay, how do I improve those around me? How do I improve those back home?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing now. Like, I think what I want to accomplish now is bigger than me. I think it starts on a spiritual level. I now chase Christ at a more deeper level, more intimate level. I spend more time in church. I spend more time in the book.
Yeah.
And I feel like in doing that, like, yeah, I get to satiate myself spiritually, but I think the people around me are properly satiated. When you look at what I'm trying to do and accomplish in the strength and conditioning, the pro sports game, yeah, I'm going to benefit from it. And hopefully it does pay off financially as well. But with that, what are we doing with the newfound financial situation? And, what are we doing? What are we doing with the heightened platform? Like, when you're collaborating with these different companies, these different players, teams, like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm eating, but how do I reach back and grab B and, hey, B, you operate in this space. How can I help you? Or Shy, you operate in this space. How can I help you? Or, you know what? Look, now I have the capital, whether it be intellectually or financially, to go back to Pineville and have a shoe drive, or go back to Pineville, Alexandria, and do public speaking engagements and give kids infrastructure, pick up the Common Grounds pie and bring it to Pineville and show kids like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like we're pie, but at the same time, we're really ministering to the youth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for me,
It's like showing them a way.
yeah, so like for me, I could stop now and just kind of coast, keep this thing on autopilot, but I feel like I got to keep chasing, because now the more I chase, one, the more people chase me and that influence, but also two, I can reach back and grab people and or provide more. So I think I've accomplished everything, but at the same time, nah, because I still got to help everybody else eat in some kind of way. So
Based on that, like, I saw a picture the other day that you shared on IG, and it was you sleeping that hotel chair.
yeah,
Just bring the listener and the viewer up to speed on what that season of your life was like, man, because I think it's a unique piece of the story and the plight of you into everything that you was just talking about to Shai's question, man. Like,
man, honestly, I got to that point in my life because I was utterly disobedient. Uh, and I say that because given, the small piece of my childhood that I was able to give you about, being a black sheep, I know we'll probably get deeper into it too, because there's some pieces in there that I think you guys know, but the viewers, would make more sense why they see what they see. But given that, the reason why I say I was utterly disobedient is because everything as the black sheep that I was told to do, I did not do it that way. Obviously, having parents who were the first in their families to graduate college, for them, there was a blueprint on how you graduate, uh, and they wanted me to follow that blueprint. But given the fact that I saw things differently in the media, on TV, out in the streets, right? I didn't think that that was the way I needed to go to get that. And love my parents to death, love my grandparents to death. But I also knew that where y'all are, that's great, but I don't want to do it that way. So if I listen to you, how much longer is it going to take for me to get here? Because I don't want to go that way. I want to go here. And so I got into that space just being disobedient. Obviously played college ball. I entered the 2018 NFL draft after playing ball at Northwestern and spending the year at Arkansas Tech. I had not finished any of my undergrad stuff. Now, the goal was in the middle of that time to continue to still take classes and figure out a way to graduate. So I was able to take like 1 or 2 classes. One was online, the other one was actually at Northwestern State. Problem is that's 3 hours from Baton Rouge where I was training and living. And so, see what now. And so I wasn't going out. I was able to work out a little deal with my professor there. Love her to death. Shout out Miss Cindy. She was able to essentially tell me like, hey, Rock, um, you can choose to miss class, but just know like this is how many points you miss you lose every time you miss. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna crush these tests. Like whatever. And so, but that kind of slowed things down. And so I didn't graduate on time. And so I went and I interned at Colorado State in May of 2018. I did that for like 6 weeks. And that was a great experience, despite the fact I didn't want to go there at all. But it was my
What
only,
made you not want to go?
this being a Louisiana dude, like I didn't want to leave
So
Louisiana.
it's just like the literal circumstance of
Yeah, like
location.
right. Like
Okay.
I tell people all the time, like I'm Louisiana born, Louisiana bred, and when I die, I'll be Louisiana dead. Like I didn't want to leave. And so, but I looked around and I was like, I haven't graduated from college. I don't know if I'm assigned with a team. My agent's looking around like, hey, bro, we gonna have to figure something else out. You might need to pivot. Uh, and I'm working at a supplement shop on Jackson Street in Alexandria, Louisiana for like $7.25 an hour. And I'm sitting there from like 8 to 8. Yeah. I don't really know much about supplements. So I'm learning on the fly. I don't know how to sell. Like, what am I doing? Worst case scenario is I go and I can say it's a great experience. Yeah. And so I went and I did that. And while I was there, I stayed in a townhome like thing, I guess you could call it, but there was no AC. I had like maybe $500 in my account, but I spent most of that on a hotel for 2 or 3 nights while I was trying to find a place to stay. Right. Finally found a place to stay where I could get in and live, but it had no AC. The bed was like on this like makeshift wooden box thing. The bathroom, my closet now is bigger than the bathroom that I had when I was living in Colorado State. People wouldn't hang out with me because it was so hot in there. Like it was different. I could call a lot of my intern buddies, my fellow interns at the time now, Stephen Holtfreder, my guy, Ray Thomas, my guy, those guys, and they'll tell you like, man, Christian came to workouts in the wee hours of the morning, eating Ritz crackers and orange juice. And that's what I did. When I went, I was like 210, chiseled from training. When I left Colorado State, I was 188 pounds. Like boys were thugging. But did that, and I got a call to go back to Northwestern State, where they allowed me to, although I was interning and still trying to finish my undergrad, they were allowing me to be the director of strength and conditioning for like track and field and things like that. So technically speaking, I shouldn't have been doing it, right? But they gave me the opportunity, like, hey, look, come in here, crush it. We'll work on the CSCS and all that stuff later. But you played here, the coaches know you, yeah. A lot of the athletes know you, like, just come in here, get these reps, help us out. And so I did that, but I wasn't making my own money. And so I was like, yo, Dad, Mom, I think I'm about to just get a job so I can have some money to, kind of play with and, be a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
To which my parents are like, you shouldn't do that. Like, you should just focus on school. When you get your GA, school's gonna be paid for, so you don't need to worry about it. And I'm like, nah, like I need to make a way to take care of myself. And so I jumped into it. And the only way that I could do it was if I worked the graveyard shift. So basically, that video was a video of me doing that. So what I did was we'll start with the beginning of my day and then how when you build up to the hotel. So every morning I was getting up at 7, sometimes 5, depending on when our first weight room group is. And so I would train athletes, whether it be, volleyball or softball, baseball, if they wanted more, or football. I'd train them from either 6 or 7:30 all the way up to about 11:15. From there, the straight staff, we'd go get like breakfast if they were still serving it at the cafeteria, because God knows I wasn't paying for dinner anywhere else. And then after that, I would go to class myself. So I would go to class, get out of class around maybe 1:30ish. They gave me time to boom, go to the cafeteria for like 2. From like 2 to 2:30, I ate. From 2:30 to like 3:30ish, I would get my own personal lift in to stay in shape. And then at 3:30, I would go to track practice. to watch the track athletes there. And so I would be there until it was time for them to roll into the weight room. So I spent like 30 minutes there, and then boom, they're in the weight room from 4 to 6. And I trained every track athlete except for the jumpers. So you're looking at roughly 64 athletes coming in and out of the weight room at one time in a 2-hour span. And the weight room at the time only had like 12 racks. So you got to get real correct. You got athletes in the hallway doing stuff. You got to run into the football field to do stuff. Like it was a lot to learn as a young dude who just a couple months ago was backpedaling himself, and I'm still trying to get my undergrad. And so we'd do that from 4 to 6, and then from 6 to 8, sometimes I would have like basketball come in. But if not, I would take that time to go get dinner, try to work on school if I could. And then from 8 to 10, I would take a nap. And then I get up at 10 o'clock or 10:15, throw my hotel clothes on. I'll get there for 10:30. That way I was prepped, ready to go, clock in for 11. And then I worked from 11 to 7 a.m. Sometimes I'd have to get off earlier, and I would have to call other hotel workers to relieve me a little bit earlier so I could get over. And I just did that every day for almost a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of times,
A lot of people wouldn't have the strength to push through that for even a week, even a couple days. Like people would give up so fast. Oh my gosh, they would have been like, I could do this. But like the fact that you did it for a year and a half, like that speaks a lot to your character.
I was making like $7.35 an hour. I remember there were times like athletes, shout out to them, athletes would actually pull up to the hotel and just sit with me to keep me up. But they were like, look, I don't have anything to do. I don't have class or practice. So I'm gonna just come sit with you and talk to you to keep you up, because I would sometimes fall asleep at the desk. And so I'd wake up and people would be knocking on the desk like, hey man, I'm trying to check in. And I'm at the desk going, yeah. Oh. So man, they played a big role in that. And that's how we got the video. One of my track athletes actually videotaped me dozing off in the hotel to like, cause it was like, man, like this dude is really doing this. And so the athletes eventually started going back to the university and telling like their sports coaches like, hey, do y'all know like when Rock is in here, like this dude is rolling off of like no sleep. And so then coaches started getting like, well, you know what, bro, if you ever get tired, just go in my office, catch the couch. Or look, bro, if there was nobody's couch or office I could catch, hey man, look, bring your blanket, make a pallet, slide up under the desk. I'll go do my work somewhere else. And so I would sleep. Yeah, I would take like naps all throughout the day, just kind of like under their desk and stuff. And yeah, man, did that for a year and a half. And then one day I was just like, man, I can't do this anymore. And but at that time, I didn't have much time left at university. I knew that I was going to eventually pivot, and go private sector potentially. Right. So I was like, you know what? I called my pops. I'm like, hey, man, this was cool, but I'm done with it. But yeah, that's how that video came about. And I did it, number one, because I wanted to take care of myself. I did not want my parents or anybody else around me to feel like on this journey, which was totally taboo to them. Like the kid in the NFL draft, none of us have ever done that in our family. We don't even know what that looks like. Like we're learning with him. He didn't finish school on time. He's picking up classes here and there to try to finish. He's not going to class in one of these classes, but somehow he's still passing, right? Now he wants to be a strength coach, and he's telling me that it's normal for strength coaches to work for free. He's going to Northwestern State trying to finish his undergrad, but they're letting this joker work. He doesn't have certifications, but he's supposed to have certifications. However, the athletes are doing really, really good, and the track team is doing great, and people are breaking records. But he's also telling me that he can't get a job because he doesn't have the educational leverage. Like all this stuff is going on. Yeah. And so, but for me, I was like, because of the craziness that was my life and the dream I was trying to chase, I didn't want anybody around me to ever feel responsible for it. Like this is on me. So if I fall, but I'm not gonna hurt anybody in the process. And so that's why I kind of took that approach. And then too, I wanted to prove to myself something too. Like, I told my father all the time, my biggest strength is I recognize that nobody else would. Yeah. I'm the one that will stare down stare down the armory of 300. And despite the fact that I know, man, I'm probably going to die, I'll do it anyway. And if you ask me at the root of it, why do you do it anyway? My response is going to be because nobody else would. Right. Like that's just how I'm wired. And so that's why I kind of took on that.
I see why David's your favorite character. David's my guy, man. Cause that's a David mentality. The hire. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah, David, you got this Philistine, he talking crazy, right? And nobody else gonna check him.
I got it.
I got it.
Right. I gotta do it. And David, it's funny you say it because David was, despite my ignorance to what the text in the Bible said, T.D. Jakes, which is so crazy that I periodically attend his church and I actually see this man. T.D. Jakes has no idea that he was a motivating factor for me between the ages of 17 and 22. And the reason being is because my father slid me a CD one time of his sermon from I don't know how many years back. Yeah, talking about David and Ziklag. And how David, the thing that resonates with me the most, I remember it probably clearer than anything else in that DVD, was that David had to encourage himself. And so that was always my thing. Like when life ain't panning out, when things ain't going the way that I want them to, when it gets hard, I've got to encourage myself. And so I'm listening to this thing at 17 all the way through 22 while I'm going through some of the stuff, and I had to transition out of ball. And so now it's ingrained in me. Like, I'm gonna encourage myself. Like, I'm sick to my stomach. Sometimes I want to die, but I'm not gonna look at B or Shy and be like, save me. But I'm gonna encourage myself. You know, I'm staring down Goliath and I don't have much. But gosh darn, I have a slingshot. And a lot of people are like, oh, you going there with a slingshot? Yeah, but you would. But you would. Now watch me get busy. That's just who I was. So yeah, bro, that was a unique time of my life, but it was necessary because once I dove into private sector, those experiences would help me catapult myself.
Was that transition hard? I echo the sentiment, and I know a lot of other athletes, when we transition out of grade ball, like finding out what's next. Like I had a very hard time transitioning out of that, trying to figure out what I was going to do. This ain't about me, but like, you know, never worked a job a day in my life. You know what I mean? Didn't have a resume. Literally all I had on my resume was my name. Yeah, but on the end of the degree I got, you know what I mean, right? And going back, I probably would have got a different degree. Yeah, just kind of was just doing something just to do it at that time, right? But at the end of the day, I know when I transitioned, like at the time I didn't realize like there was grief, there's grieving attached to what I was going through, right? Right. And you start to act out in certain ways, and now you look back, you're like, well, I was grieving like crazy, right? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I know that a lot of athletes, we all share that tool. They're just like, man, what do I do right with the rest of my life, the next 10 years of my life, right here? I still feel like I'm unpacking that stall. You're right.
I think that's something people don't really talk about. Like, I was just talking about that. Mine's like on a different level. Like, I work a very normal job as a waitress, but like on the weekends that I'm out on a football field and I'm shooting charity dance, but it's like no one talks about. I was telling her like no one talks about like the two differences of like for me like living out my dream. Yeah. But then I have to go work my waitress out so I can support that. But no one really talks about for athletes like that transition for y'all to go like if that's your life, that's your life. And all of a sudden it's just like this now life is happening. So like yeah, what was that?
It's like, you ain't like you had to like sit in that. Yeah. Cause you went straight into coaching, right? For the most part, me, like, I didn't go into coaching. I went into like sitting on the couch, like, yeah. So what I'm about to do now? You know what I mean?
And I would say, I would say, looking back on it now in my late 20s, like it's one of those things where, to your point, even now, I think it's normal for all of us to try to figure out like what that transition looks like because you got to think, even now, not trying to age us, but we're still young enough to where we've actually spent more time as athletes or something else than we have been. It is. Exactly. Like we spend more time doing that than what we, like, think about it. I started playing sports. I started playing sports at like 6. Right? When you look at when I stopped playing football at 22, God, what's the math on that? That's 16 years.
Yep.
Once again, I'm not gonna age myself, but yeah, doing what I'm doing now, I've only been doing that for 6. Yeah, but like now that I think about it, I've only been doing this professionally for 4 years. I dove into it 6 years ago. Yeah. So there's another decade of living that I have to do before I even match what I used to do.
Well, so I do different life. Right. Then hard to pull yourself out. Not to cut you off, but like, you just make me think about it. It's hard to pull yourself out of that thinking when you're in it like that. And so to go But it's a macro the bigger one. That macro is the big micro to go macro, right? It'd be like I still got to your point, right? I stopped playing at 22. I just turned 30 in June, right? So I've only had 8 years of trying to, okay, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like, but it's hard when you in it to be like, how do I pull myself out of it? Because you really just like, bro, I got to go to each day, and every day just feels like I don't know what's going on. Well, I mean, like,
Right.
That's how I look at like adulting, like, because you really aren't like an adult until you're what, adult 19. So it's like I'm 27, so like I'm just an 8-year-old adult. But it's like because it's like we're still figuring it out. Like I still got coming home because it's like I had the whole life with her, my dad, and now I'm like I'm just a kid, but I'm an adult because it's that micro. I mean, maybe a lot of macro, I guess.
I don't know what the plate we serve the athlete is. Your plate. I don't know if they're bloody. I don't know. In my opinion, almost why you kind of just got to just go through it.
You got to go through it, and I think it looks different for everybody else. Like I would say I grieves too, but maybe my grieving period was shorter.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to the roots. You were to ask me what was it that helped me transition, it was Pinevere. Not to sound, over poetic, but no, it was Pineville. And it was Pineville. It all goes back to the Pineville and the river and the Levy for me because when I was sitting in that supplement shop,
Yeah.
still working out with my trainer, Don Fields, who taught me, oh man, it's probably just what he taught me. And he was kind of like my catalyst to even want to do strength. But yeah, I'm training with him. So he's watched me from the age of 13.
Yeah.
To now, this 22-year-old who, good athlete, is working at the supplement shop and he doesn't know what's next for his pro career. That alone was inspiration for me I gotta do something. Like I'm sitting in this supplement shop in my hometown where people do exactly what I'm getting ready to do, which is I done came back, I'm here, I'm making money, which I haven't done on my own.
Right.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
But I can't get comfortable because I'm gonna end up, unfortunately, and I don't want to be disrespectful to my people.
Yeah, laughing.
But I don't want to end up like the rest of them because I had a shot to change this. And now I'm becoming that which I wanted to run from. And so it was Pineville that inspired me to move around because I was like, look, I might not play pro ball. I might not play ball ever again, but I'll tell you what I'm also not going to do.
Yeah, right.
It'll be to sit here and not have an education, making little to no money, trying to be the hood superstar, trying to be the city superstar with nothing to show for it, nothing to bring back. So I need to figure out a way to put myself, on a platform or pedestal to where, yeah, not only financially, I put myself in a better position, but I now have a voice that transcends the state, that transcends the country even. Yeah. And so for me, I was like, what can I do that gives me that opportunity? With the end goal being, I'm gonna be able to give something back. And for me, I'm like, coaching.
Yeah.
And I hit it
Really, so this boy has something that you wasn't playing, and in the back of your mind thinking about like, well, typically we not thinking like that anyway, but let's just say hypothetically, where you were playing, you weren't thinking like, when I transition off the playing field, whenever that is, I want to coach.
I would say that I was thinking it, but I wasn't thinking about the plan to do it. It was just ball, ball, ball. Like there was an interview I did at Northwest as a freshman where I actually said I want to be a collegiate strength coach. And if not do that, I want to be a professional strength and conditioning coach for professional athletes. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want to do that, but I had no plan in place. So when it hit me in 2018 that, you that is your pivot, but how you gonna do it? I didn't know. Which is why I was so reluctant to go to Colorado State at first, because I'm like, I don't know. But on the flip side, because I didn't know, that's also why I chose to go.
Yeah, if it's like what's the worst that could happen? Like,
And like, maybe this is the way to do it. And so yeah. So for me, I was like, I can't sit here much longer contemplating what we do.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta move. And so if I
people get stuck there, and then contemplation, you start to overthink it. People get stuck.
2 years,
Yep.
3 years. And so for me, I'm like, you know what? We just gonna do it because I cannot stay here. And so a lot of times people ask me how old I am. I tell them, and they're like, oh, wait, you still in your 20s and you're doing do. That's because I didn't wait. I couldn't afford to. Pineville, Alexandria ain't a place where you wait. You can't because you start getting caught up in, I grew up here, they love me, I get everything. All meals, whatever, I'm getting it for free. People take care of me, or it's cheap. I don't have to leave my comfort zone. People think I'm great because of what I've done, but for me, think of like how I'm wired. Don't talk to me based off what I've done. Talk to me based off what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything. So yeah, I moved quickly.
Yeah, I think there's a lie in that too. Like I heard this well, he used to be a pastor, he's no longer a pastor. And he has his own podcast. I listen to him a lot. Tim Ross, he was it right at the basement. And something he says that I love is if you can't do it brave, do it scared. Right. And I think 9 times out of 10, you probably are going to have to do things scared. You know what I mean? Right. So like, I think in what you're saying, like there is so much of a message in that. It's like, I know I've had my own experiences with that and stuff where it's like the flip side, like the evil side of that characteristic trait is that obviously for me is that sometimes I go really fast, and when I'm going fast, people be catching elbows and knees and all that kind of stuff when they're going running to where I'm going, right? And then I turn back and be like, even if it didn't work out because of my own doing or because life is life, and I got to turn back and look back and be like, damn, if the collateral damage to kind of what I pay, they kind of got to tuck your tail, kind of walk back, right? Apologize, shit, so forth, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I do think that, like you were saying, that contemplation space, right?
Every day
People
was
get
big.
so stuck in there, bro. It's like, bro, you just gotta do it. And I'm a firm believer, bro, that like if you would just, it's like the scriptures say, like the Lord being a light for our path as we walk, right? It's like if you just start walking, bro, like he'll direct you and start to edge out. Even if he say, all right, Brandon, just walk straight, right? And I start walking straight, but then lights, and I feel like I should go left now, right? Because I'm still committing myself to being with them and just walking and being obedient and walking. He'll be like, okay, either I'm going to push you back straight while you keep walking, or I'm going to cut down 30 trees that you went left in. That's going to shortcut you to get to where I'm still trying to get straight. But the bottom line is just obedience. Just walking, throw the light. That's all you got to do to start walking, bro. So I think what you're saying is like, you start walking, bro, buddy. It is what it is.
Like that's like to that point. Yeah, you you triggered a thought in my mind. I've always said this about myself. And it comes off and it piggybacks itself off of something that my father told me when I was younger, which is, when you get ready to make a decision, you have to weigh all consequences, the good and the bad. Only once you've done that and you've told yourself, I accept both of those consequences, that's when you make the decision. And so in college, I had a special teams coach, August Manager, uh, which he was a necessary character in my story because there were times where I did not see eye to eye. I did not agree with that dude. There were days where, and this is normal, I think, for a player to say, there were days where I hated the guy, but he pushed me. Yeah. And he challenged me. He challenged me when he didn't think he was challenging me. And so I'm grateful for that dude for that. But one of the things he told me was when I was a young player, I was probably a freshman, redshirt freshman. He said, Rock, be slow to your note, but fast when you go. I never forgot that. So we talk about that contemplation period. For me, like I said, mine was short-lived because of my discernment and the vision I had, given how I perceive the references that I had growing up. Right. So for me, it was when I'm sitting in that supplement shop, like I knew I had to do some thinking, and I was slow to do that. But whenever I was offered the opportunity to intern at Colorado State by one of my heroes, Joey DeRocio, who coached me at Northwestern, he told me like a month in advance, hey, May 28th, we start. It took me up until like May 25th to say, oh, I'm going. So I took about 3 weeks or so to figure it out. But the moment I told myself, to your point, what's the worst that could happen? I go and don't like it, come back. At least I had the experience. Let's do it. My parents will tell you, I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't have that lined out. Didn't know how I was going to do it. Heck, my contingency plan was to get up there because he coached me, asked to stay with him. Like, I didn't really have a plan, but slow till you know, fast when you go. And so I knew I gotta go. Yeah. And I just took off. Yeah, man, the rest is history.
yeah, so yeah, I love that. We talked about this for Pineville already, but being that you operate in the strength conditioning space now, coaching for as long as you coach, the success that you had, so on and so forth. I got my own thoughts on this. So I'm interested to hear your opinion on it. What does the space need more of? In the private sector, I don't want to talk collegially, right? Because you still kind of the umbrella of business, right? You know what I mean? That's still so much more business than the private sector. The private sector is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's lacking in the private sector space?
I think what's lacking in the private sector space is true vision. And I say that because I think what was once good for the game has now become like a disease. It was good for the game that players to get name, image, and likeness. But with that, the people that they're associated with now get name, image, and likeness, whether players want to believe it or not. Like, yeah, I think about it now, and I'm not going to name drop any of my boys, my little brothers, but there are jewelers who are popular because they know that dude or that girl, you know? So all of us associated with these athletes, women's side, men's side, we now have NIL too. And I think I made a point that when I got into this game, I hit it right on the nose because it was just getting to where that was a thing, right? Like you post on the gram or Twitter what you're doing, obviously for educational purposes, but once guys and girls started realizing, oh wait, this increases my bag because it increases the influence. And if it increases the influence, that player sees it and it becomes cyclical. Well, then people, were posting to educate, but then you're starting to see now where people are posting for the clout.
Yeah.
So
But it's more that than any.
yeah, and we've lost our vision. We've lost our vision. The young bucks coming in the game have lost their vision. I think the old heads have done a poor job. Some of them have done somewhat of a poor job reaching back and grabbing guys younger than me. And yet at times myself and ministering to us and letting us know, like, hey, at the end of the day, the purpose and our passion should be geared towards the people. And if we do that, all the stuff that we search for, it'll happen naturally without us having to collateral damage, right? Step on toe, hurt people, railroad folks. And so I think that our game needs somebody to come out and provide true vision. And that's the other thing that I've kind of taken the role in myself. People talk about kind of what I post on Threads and Twitter. I unapologetically talk that way on my social media platforms because number one, humbly speaking, I feel as though I have God's anointing upon my life. What can you actually do to me? And because I put myself here now due to the work and due to the relationships, the people, in a place where you can say what you want to say, you can do what you want to do, but it's like throwing pebbles at an armored truck. Like, what? So, shy truck. You see this truck, yeah, shy big old truck. So, yeah, I just think it needs vision. I think we need to get back to understanding that the purpose is the people. But I think it starts from the top down. When you look at some of these big companies, I think that within those spaces, the companies no longer value the people on the ground doing what they're supposed to do. And so it's a dog-eat-dog business, even within the company or within the walls of said sector, entity, whatever. So I think that matriculates down to the player. They're not looking out for me, so I'm going to look out for myself. Right. And if I have to solicit it and then exploit you to do it, oh well. I'm a post until you don't fool me no more. That's fine because there's another 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old that's looking for me that was just like you, and I'll just do the same thing to them. Rinse and repeat. And so athletes just coming through their doors, in and out, no true relationships. And so the game is becoming watered down.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you think that, like, when it comes to the money and the deals that these kids are getting, they're going into the first year in college and they're getting $10 million just to sign. Like, do you feel like that's kind of like deterred the work ethic that they have going in? Because why do I have to work this hard when I'm already getting this to get to the next level?
Yeah.
As a coach, like, do you feel like it's changed the people?
I think it does change the athletes, but I think the hot take is this. These athletes are more educated on the business. These athletes are more educated on what we do as performance coaches, as well as what their position coaches or sport coaches are doing. So I think a lot of time for these athletes, I think we tend to miss this component. I think because they're more educated and now they make more money, they do the same thing back to us. I know when you slide into my DMs, coach, to train me, it's not because you really care about me. You don't even know me, right?
That was interesting. That's a hot take.
You don't even know me. So yeah, a lot of
But one thing was too, when you really figure out the game is a game. It's a game.
It's a game.
The game is a game. And it's always gonna be the game.
So I think some of the lack of work ethic that we as coaches, and I'm saying we because I'm part of it, I do not attribute this to myself. No shade, but we shine through that. But anyway, shine through the shade. But I think that for us as coaches, when we see some of that pushback or lack of work ethic, I think it's not because of the essence who the athlete is initially. I think it's because I don't trust you. Yeah. And I don't have to actually because I make more money than you. And the moment you piss me off or you do something I don't like, I'm going to take my funds and go somewhere else. And so a lot of times what happens is, that's why I say we lose vision. We've lost our vision. A lot of
But it all ties in. It really does.
a lot of coaches now understand because of the farmhouse that is college or high school now too, high school, college, professional sports. He might not listen, but he or she's already here already. I'm going to do what I got to do while I can to get my stardom
Right.
while they're in the building. And when they decide to leave, I'll get another one. To me, that's Mike Tomlin says all the time. To me, that's seeking comfort. Yeah. A lot of coaches aren't running to coaching anymore. And part of coaching is understanding who these guys and girls are. And that's the vision. I want to be able to tap their spirit because if I can tap their spirit, I can tap them emotionally. If I can tap them emotionally, then I can pull them in physically and develop them because now I know them. It's like if one of y'all would have tell me, hey, pick your stuff up, I'm going to go home and think about that because y'all know me. Now, if somebody random looks at me and goes, I don't like how you talk in the media, who are you? So to know the athlete is to create buy-in, the work ethic then changes. So we got to remember what our vision is, and our vision and our purpose must be the person. We got to start running away from coaching. I think a lot of times we get away.
I think that's so beautifully said, because I think that's what attracted me to the private sector, right? Is that I love people. I love talking with people. I love being with people. I just love people. And I love helping them more than anything. And I believe the private sector has the opportunity to do that more, hands down, more than the business sector, right? And yeah, I'm talking college and things of that nature. Even in professional setting, in a sense, right? Professional teams, you can only do so much. And no shade to them, but I just think it's just a dynamic of what you got. The word handcuff to the logo, handcuff to the logo. Now, in the private sector, right, to your point, it's how many times me and you talk about that at our previous spot, right? I don't know what you attribute to, but when I talk to people about that time of us being there, I'm like, I attribute any of the success that I saw there because I went in with the vision of like, and to me, it's easy because like these guys and girls can go anywhere. Yeah. When we were playing, at least in this area, the only spot that was around was Exos. That used to be called at that time when I was there training was Athletes Performance, API, and NJP. Yeah, thanks. Right. That's all that I knew about that space. Right. One spot. So now it's one on every corner. So the work been stepped on is diluted, right? But at the same time, I think the only way that you can shine through it is you have to show that you care, and you show that you care more than just DMing the athlete and saying, I want you to come train with me. Like I used to not even go into it saying that. Like, yo, I want you to come. Like, it's not a transaction, bro. Right. I got to be creative on how I engage you to get you to even want to respond. You know what I mean? I got to be creative that. But 85% of my game plan is like, how am I going to show him that I care? Well, I ain't going to say I care. I didn't know you enough to say I care about you yet. Right. I'm not going to cap like that. Like, but what I will say is like, I want to show you that I want to care. Yeah. Holistically about you. And I got to be creative in that. I cultivate that and show you up front, like, I want to think outside the box for you.
And I think a lot, like, athletes probably really crave that because they don't have that.
Yeah, respond to it.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. It's not crazy.
So maybe, little lies. Not standoffish, but, I'm going to keep you at an arm's distance until you really prove yourself. Great. But, like, if you're showing that you want to care, I'm going to bite because I want someone to really, like, think about my future. Like, how am I going to be as a person?
And y'all are spot on. And I'm gonna shock the viewers when I say this. I'm not lying. Y'all, the amount of athletes I had DM'd, especially now that I have my own platform, to get them to train with me is a grand total of 0. I have not DM'd a guy or a girl. If there's one out there, prove it wrong. Yeah, I'm open to that. But I'm pretty sure there's not an athlete anywhere that I've DM'd since I've been out here in Dallas, Texas, uh, asking them to train with me. For me, it's your process.
Yep.
And I want you to choose me because you want to be here.
Yeah.
Or somebody closest to you has referred you to me.
Yep.
I don't want to start this thing off with you believing that this is a business transaction.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe in culture. I believe in everybody from the top down within your system being held accountable because that also pushes culture. So whether it's me, whether it's you guys, when you guys help me out with my business, you on the sports side, the marketing and athlete services side, you with the media, like for me, our accountability is something that I believe in because of the culture. So I want you to come because you want to be here.
Right.
And then when you get here, you're going to figure out that what you thought this was is actually more than that. And so I haven't DM'd any athletes trying to get them to come to me. Most oftentimes they were always referrals.
Yeah.
And when they got in the building, they realized very quickly that I honestly, and this is a hot take, I honestly do not care what your sports metrics are when you leave this joker because you're already great at what you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for me, yeah, obviously, from my perspective, I want you to do well and I want you to progress. I do want that.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, when you leave here, I want you to be a better man or woman than you were
Absolutely.
when you came in.
Yeah.
And I want you to have some level of business acumen. I want you to have some kind of understanding of your spirituality. I want you to have a handle on your emotions and how to regulate those things. I want you to be a better person, be a better daughter, son, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, client to your agents, and vice versa. The rest of that's going to take care of itself. And so you guys hit the nail on the head. I oftentimes try to learn these athletes, and I hit them in the face with that truth pretty much the first time I meet them. I'll drop this name because he and I are kind of tight. Mikey Sanders was probably one of the most brilliant individuals I've ever met. I don't know if he knows or not, and if he does, kudos. But he is one of the most brilliant individuals I ever met. And I remember looking him in the face specifically during a training session. There were other guys there, but I looked him in his eyes specifically. And I said, at the end of the day, I don't care if any of you guys go to the NFL. I don't. What I care about most is what kind of man are you? Because I'm going to be here all day. There's going to be another group of y'all come through here, and I'm going to develop them the same way. If I can develop you as a man, that what you are passionate about, the game of football, and from his perspective,
Right.
that's going to take care of it itself because as a man, you're going to handle your business when you come in here. Yeah, you're going to maximize your resources. You're going to maximize your training sessions. You're going to do whatever it takes based on what you need to do to make sure that you get where you got to get. So if I tell you when I look at your force play number that you have this, and this, and you got to do this, and this, because I've developed you as a man, that's going to take care of itself.
Yes.
And
The trust is there. He's gonna believe anything because you helped him to that other level.
when I tear down this wall of normality, when I tear down this perception of what sports is, and I strip them of that,
Yeah.
like, hey, Mikey, I don't care about that. I said, but actually, who are you as a man?
Exactly.
That changes because it's like, oh, wait, not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he woke. So hold on now.
Yeah.
Because then the thought process starts to slowly become, well, man, he can't care more than me. And he just told me that he really don't care.
Yes.
So it's on me. It's on me. And because he's more concerned about me, the person, he don't talk to me different. Sometimes he might talk to me. Man, I'll never forget. It's the last story I've been telling about me and you, Mikey. That boy Mikey looked at me one morning and said, I ain't gonna lie, Rod, but I wanted to fight you. After what you told me the other day. I wanted to fight you, bro. Good. Because you gonna show up now.
Yeah.
Mikey the man, not Frozone, not Frozone, Mikey the man finna show up every freaking day. And when you make it, we could chop it up and celebrate.
Yep.
We'll have a good time and then buckle up again because next off season, we're gonna do it again.
Yep.
And again, and again, right? And so, yeah, I just believe in pouring into these guys. I think about my little brother Malik. We talk about this stuff not being transactional. One of the first things I ever told that dude, he's kind of quiet if y'all know him, is, hey man, you're not out here by yourself, bro. You from Lafayette, I'm from Pinesville. It's about an hour apart, dog. Yeah. Look, you ain't out here by yourself. And there's days I think about that dude in church and I shoot him a text. I do that with a lot of my athletes, but I do that with him probably more often than not, just to let him know you ain't out there by yourself. You got somebody here for you, bro. And Sometimes he don't text back, but that's fine.
Yeah.
About that kid is busy. That kid just needs to know that, hey, push come to shove, I might not talk to Rock for the next 30 years. But I remember that text that I got the other day when he said he thought about me. And gosh dog it, I need a little something. Hey, I just need to laugh.
Yep.
They call my dog.
I think it's one thing, not really to talk game, but like one thing that Dan Campbell, right, and the way that the Lions have like just absolutely blown up, and that people everywhere, like the Cowboys are America's team. Really, all of the Lions are low key becoming their team because people are rallying around him because everything you're saying, that's what he preaches to his guys. That's what he preaches to the fans. That's what he like. That's him as a man, and people rally behind that. So, like, if you're doing that at this level, like that is something that can change the country. That's something that can go, worldwide. Like, you don't know who might see something, who might know someone, and they're affected by that.
Yes.
And it's like that's such a big thing, and it's something people just don't do anymore.
Yeah, these guys and girls have to understand that they're not an item.
Yeah,
They've been so itemized. And it's a blessing and it's a curse because,
yeah,
yeah, they make a lot of money being perceived as somebody's idol.
And they carry that. You start to see them carry themselves that way. Right. Like I was dressed like you see it in their demeanor, right? But every once in a while,
you see that.
yeah, every once in a while. And it's not even, I wouldn't even say it's like an arrogance. Like I don't mean that like they carry themselves like really arrogant. I feel like it's almost more
It's like a persona type.
and it's at you. So after matching. Yeah, yeah. And it almost comes off sometimes like a little insecure sometimes. Right? Like I'm like, I almost am second guessing myself. I don't really know who I am anymore.
But I know that so-and-so is cutting me a bag to where it is and act this way. Yeah. So I'm going to do it until he's the contract.
Exactly.
And so, but I know for a fact, because every good man and woman has done it. And I can only imagine those guys and girls. But there's a moment in time every day where they go home and they got to face that mirror and someone probably cry themselves to sleep. And so they need to know that they're not an item. And so for me, it's just, man, building those relationships and just simply talking to them. Like, people made the comment the other day when I posted on my gram and I said, hey, man, this is my first ever NFL football game. And this happened to be a Saints game. Yeah, I know I grew up liking the Saints being from Louisiana. But I can't tell you how many DMs I got from people saying, how? How was this your first ever NFL game given the space you operate in? And my response consistently was, that's just how it is. I would never ask those men for anything. And somebody made the comment to me, and it was thought-provoking. I'm not gonna say somebody. There were many people who made this comment, and I'm not knocking her because I understand how on the outside looking in, you can get there. People don't understand this sports industry is a little bit different. When you start talking about the interpersonal relationships of the athlete and the practitioner.
Yeah.
But a few people said, well, you shouldn't have to ask them. To which I didn't really go down the wormhole of information to provide that clarity. I just went, okay, or like the message, right? And but what I really want to tell those folks and convey to the viewer is that is the very reason why I don't ask.
Yeah.
It's because they deal with so many people in their life that feel entitled and obligated to their platform, to their money, to their time, to their space. The last thing I want to do as a person that they see more than anybody else in their family because they spend their entire off season with us, right? Last thing that I want to do is their safe haven, spiritually and emotionally, not anything else, is to then become the very, very thing they try to escape when they come to see me. And it's not about me in mind.
Yeah. It's a real thing, and, like, that's something I wanted to ask you, like, do you feel like because of where you are and everything that you've been able to accomplish, do you feel like people almost reach out to you to see what they can get from them, or see, like, what they can, like, pull from you because of who you are and your platform?
So me and my boy, Milton Moneybag Woods, my dog, yeah, Latte Bulldog. I'm always remind him, I'm gonna get the mic closer to me. 21-17, Northwestern Demons. Look, I'll never let him forget. We won. And I'm undefeated against them Latte Bulldogs and Milton. But man, he and I were talking. He went turn crazy this season. He's snapping. I knew that was it, bro. And I can't wait to see what happens going forward. But he and I were talking about this very thing. I was sitting. He was in the pool, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
On the pool, and I was sitting on the side. I think I might have been sitting on like a milk carton or something. Not milk carton, milk crate. milk cartons.
Oh, individual milk. That's a strong milk carton.
The visual of that is nuts. And Maria God's dog nuts.
I'ma edit that. Betty. Nuts. Literally photoshopping that.
Maria, yeah, who would have thought of it? But anyway, a milk crate,
Yeah.
more surface area. Thank God. Yeah, a little more surface area. But he and I were talking, and we were talking about that, and he pointed at me and he went, it was the first time a player really acknowledged it, because that's real. That actually happens.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm sure you deal with the same stuff. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. Because you have a lot of people who look at the guys and girls we hang around, and because we work with them, they think that we had the same bag. You would be surprised. And don't get me wrong, the Lord is taking care of me. And I do feel as though I have some ability to help out. Yeah. And I've done it before for people. I don't have a problem with that. If it's within reason. But there's been some things that I've been asked to do which are just absolutely egregious. Could I do it? Yeah. Would I feel sore about it in the morning? Yes. Like,
Yeah.
so no, but yeah, people definitely do reach out and ask for favors, and I don't have a problem with that. Part of the elevation was to be able to properly satiate people in that regard, but you have to learn how to say no. And um, so yeah, you do have some of that. I try to use as much of my discernment as possible when taking care of those things or the lack thereof. But yeah, it gets wicked. It gets wicked because you have some people who do think that I have Tom Brady money, and you have some people who think, to your point, because I know Lil Rock from right there. We went to, St. Francis Cabrini together. I remember going to the barbershop right there off Lower Third with him. I remember him at Pineville High. Like, I remember he wanted to date me and I turned him down. And I like,
People come out the woodworks.
yeah, like
Come here.
their stories. Yeah, a lot of times, man, they forget that I'm a different dude. I've even had people, say things like, you Hollywood now, because I won't reach back and help out. But it's like, no, I'm not Hollywood. I just can't operate the same way. Like, I can't be in the same club with you guys. I can't be defending you when you have a hot take that you're willing to defend it to the point of fighting. And I know it's wrong, by the way. Like, I can't second some of those notions. I can't give you this money because it enables you to do this. I'm not Hollywood. I'm responsible. And if I fall, then what happens to the guys? What happens to the city? What happens? Like, if I'm irresponsible now on the back end, who am I to you?
Yeah.
I gotta be good. My father always says, you got to build your house before you start passing out bricks. So like, I gotta build my house. And so it gets wicked out here. And you just gotta be smart.
It's like you want to provide a place at the table for people. You just got to be careful who you're inviting. Like you want to get back to Pineville, like that is you, but like you got to be careful with how you're moving through it.
And to that point, you kind of took the words from my mouth. I think we talked about this, our very first pod that we did in Georgia, and something along the lines of, oh, yeah, yeah. And I think it's one of those things, in my opinion, that to me, I think, talk about Pineville, right? Say to people, the folks at Pineville, right? The ones I got a problem with you. Not everybody. The ones I may have a problem with you, how you move it, call you Hollywood, this, that, the other, anybody else, maybe not Congo, whatever. Those people, I think sometimes the culture, we have this skewed idea of what giving back actually looks like. Right. So like, giving back is not me ignoring the dysfunction of your reality or your life or your circumstances and just giving you money or anything like that. Or the giving back could be, and you said it earlier in the pod today, is that I think the way that we can effectively give back and kind of counter people saying that about you is the vision. Correct. If I'm at this seat and I have vision for where I want this to go and how that vision is going to trickle down into being able to help you,
Yeah.
that is to me giving back 1,000, as opposed to the culture thinks, hang with me, give me money, do this, right? Give me an opportunity. It's like, but I have to create the vision. I think a lot of people maybe in these positions that have influence, they don't have enough of that vision. They're not, and not that it's a bad thing, but they're not taking the time to sit down and could be like, okay, what is the vision for my life? What's the vision for this opportunity that I have?
Yeah.
How do I scale this thing? What does that look like? And you don't have it, you then are not communicating it to these people as well. So now they just looking at you like you just sitting up there and you stagnant, you're not doing nothing, right? But if you have that vision, not saying that you're obligated to tell them,
Yeah.
but if you have it, you can be able to give them that in bite-sized pieces of like, it's bigger than what you think. What it is, it's bigger than that. And I can get you something. And I think it eases kind of like their anxiety and discomfort of like, are you going to forget about us? They're just in the dark.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And look, and I'll touch on that. So, and I actually, it's funny because I actually use this when speaking to women about men. Yeah, don't even get to start about dating. But anyway, provision is not always monetary. It's not. And I'm gonna bring back Mike. I said I'm gonna bring you back up again, Mikey. Mikey and my boy Gabe Judy Lally. Those two guys are the first people that come to mind because I was looking them in the face when I said this. Now I think I might have had I had the other DBs out there, so I had my boy Fig and all those boys out there, TJ Town. But I made this comment before a training session. I said critique and accountability with a lack of information is to those who receive it abuse. So to your point, provision, if you're not going to give something tangible, you must be able to provide intangibles.
Yeah.
So to the city, for me, this is why platforms like this is so great for us.
Exactly.
They got to know, like, sometimes the love ain't gonna come from my pocket. Sometimes the love ain't gonna come from me, buying your merch. Unfortunately, sometimes the love ain't gonna always come from me going to your restaurant, going to your club and buying out the bar. Sometimes the love ain't gonna come from a watch, a chain, shoes, the Christmas gifts or the birthday presents you want. Sometimes the love is gonna come from me telling you, hey, the reason why I'm not doing this is because next year, the year after that, I'm gonna be able to do this. And oh, by the way, I'm gonna be able to put you in a position to buy your own chain.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so I think people need to realize, like, sometimes provision is gonna be intangible, but I think it's incumbent upon us if we take on the role of leader.
Yeah.
To speak it articulate that. You have to. Because as leaders, we don't have the luxury of shutting up.
Yep.
Which is why at one point where I was like, you know what, nah.
Yep.
I humbly recognize who I am to not only Pineville, but it's transcended to now like Baton Rouge and even New Orleans to an extent. I now see who I am to those cities and now Dallas as well. I don't have the luxury to shut up. But I have to speak. Even when I don't want to. Now, of course, I have to govern myself. There's some things that I can't talk about. There's some topics I can't speak on. There's some things that I do want to speak on, and maybe, just maybe, there might be something subliminal that goes down because those who need to hear will recognize it. But for the most part, I can't shut up. And so it just got to be able to provide those intangibles at times. And I say this all the time. And my one of my best friends, Clarence Willis Jr., he coaches in Baton Rouge. That's my brother, man. My brother in Christ for sure. He remembers when I was 12, 13 years old, with that fit at the field in Pineview with my dad chasing a dream. And I tell him all the time, I'm going to go forth and prepare a place. And a lot of times, there's been times he's challenged that thought, like, but you think you can actually do it that way? And oftentimes I just articulate to him like it's not supposed to make sense to you.
Yeah.
But trust me, it's gonna happen. And so when people see, and we might even get into it, but when people see me challenging these big old companies and these big corporations, they're like, oh, this dude here is wild. Like, he's bugging. Like, he's in a way like throwing necessary stones and chaos at this company, at this sports entity, at this team, at this GM. Oh my God, what is he doing? I'm preparing a place because somebody got to make this shit right. They got to say somebody got to make this right. And who better than me? And that's why at the beginning I was laughing and shouting out Cat Williams, because 2024 this year for me was when I really realized my voice, who I was, not only as a professional, but who I am as a professional, who I am as a man of God, and what I will be. And once I started moving that alignment, I started realizing, like Kevin said, like, your enemies can't create or destroy anything. So if we understand what needs to be done, what needs to be said, if we understand these truths, it is that what we must speak upon and act upon. So for me, man, yeah, like, this is how it is.
Speak about we could kind of finish it up with this. Let's Shy, you got something else that you want to say? Um, the news you dropped today.
Well,
Wiz Nori, right? We gotta touch on that, man. As much detail as you can get of viewers, and or as much as you want to divulge, man, like get them excited. So we definitely excited for Euro. So definitely tell them what's going on.
Yeah, so as many people know, this year I launched my own company, Rock Official. Obviously named it after my IG because I mean the business is already being funneled through the Instagram, through the Facebook, and through those handles. All of my handles are Rock Official. So I'm like, man, this is a business. I'm a business. You know, like Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. And so it was just time to leverage those things. As y'all know, I transitioned away from another company. It's not a secret. I was with EXO, sure. And I'm very, very grateful for my time with those folks over there. They provided this young dude from Pineville a platform. You know, they took me out of South Louisiana, which is a small market, and gave me the opportunity to get in front of some heavy hitters and leverage myself in a way that allows me this opportunity. So I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I launched my own business. And it's actually technically is Rock Official Sports Entertainment and Apparel. So
Got it.
that company has 3 arms, and maybe we can, expand those things later. But it has 3 arms, and so we're able to do a lot of things, creatively as well. But started doing that. Linked up with my guys, Luke Miller, Nick, DB, Jaws, DP, Dak, over at PSPT. Those guys allowed me the opportunity to start running my business out of there. Uh, and that's been a great collaborative operation. Been able to develop some strong friendships there with that team. Dak has known me since I was 17 years old because him and my god brother, Derek Milton, play ball together. So it was an easy transition to get in there with DP and mix it up. So we're gonna be doing a lot of things with them going forward, hopefully as long as they'll have me. And then had the opportunity to speak with one of my heroes in the game, Mo Wells. Really and truly, he and I, once he moved back to Dallas, never really lost contact with each other because we're close. But there was a point in time where I jumped in this game where it was hard to locate Mo. And he don't know this, but he gonna know now. And there were times where I'd reach out and sometimes the text messages wouldn't get responded back to. Now, being that I'm in this game, I get wired. But as a young dude trying to break into this game, Mo don't understand how much better he got me because sometimes the text messages wouldn't agree, and I know he didn't mean anything by it. But yeah, he has no idea what that did for me because in my mind, it was like, well, if I want him to respond to my messages, I got to be good enough. So I'm going to work until my dog start returning the message or he start calling me. Same thing with Nick Hill, yeah. Shout out Nick. Yeah, shout out my dog Nick, man. I was like, man, I'm gonna get so doggone good that they can't help but to talk to him. Just be in a room with him. And so everything kind of lined out to where, Mo hit me up and was like, hey, you doing your own thing? Like, let's collab. Like, I want you to still keep your intellectual property. I still want you to keep your entity. We don't want to take that from you, but it's time me and you did something. And me and Mo always say, 318 versus everybody. He's from Shreveport, about 2 hours north of where I'm from. So it was just time. And it took pulling some strings and really grinding to get the numbers and things right and, making sure everybody feels good about it. But yeah, the papers were officially signed today. Uh, finally. So, but yeah, I'll be with them for Combine, Pro Day prep, NFL pre-draft prep. I'll be with them for all of that. So for guys who are looking for that work, agents looking for that work, that's out there. I'm available. Obviously, hit me up on the ground if you got my number. Yeah, hit me up. But also, I'll be doing pre-draft stuff there while also split time at PT with DP and all those guys. It was one-on-one, small group stuff for our veterans who are already in the league, whether that be NFL, NBA, MLB, MILB, you name the track, softball, all that stuff. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Got merch running on the website, which they're doing really, really good. Gonna have some new pieces coming out, music.
All the links will be in the caption.
Yeah. Everything. Music, I've been doing music for a long time. Been doing it since I was, man, before 8 years old. But I started rapping and doing stuff like that when I was 8. So music that dates all the way back to 2018 when I started. That's on the website as well.
Hey, so if y'all need something to lift to, that heat,
Yeah, Heaves Dream, Eve is Dream, Heathen.
That's your PR.
Yeah. Stream Heathen. Yeah, I'm in a tussle right now with Apple Music and things like that. But Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Tidal, it's on Tidal. It is.
Did just recently else?
That's building.
Yeah, I think that's the first one it was on.
Yeah, it's on the Spotify first. Yeah, it's everywhere else.
Spotify.
So yeah, got a lot of things going on. So yeah, tap in with your boy, man.
So it's a wrap, man. Hell yeah, I appreciate y'all. Yep.
No.
I'm good. Yes, sir. Yeah. That was good. And that was smooth. That was smooth. And we got into it.
I like that one better than the other one. I know the other one focused a lot more like on you as a person, but this one like,
This had more gems.
and also like the timing of when this can be dropped and everything coming for Sports Academy and for you.
Like these were some way we got into it. Now this okay with some gems.
Yes, was